Alright, that's the end of the song. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. My name is AugieRFC. Welcome to the After Hours episode number 201. Gotta get used to that right there. We're past the 100s now. We've entered a whole new numerical era in the show. We're on 201 now. How you doing, Bowblax? Although people wouldn't know it because nobody saw the 200th episode because we got shadow banned. Even after, this is the worst shadow ban yet. Because even after the show was done, on the past shadow ban episodes, like you could see it on the feeds once it's done. But even like the last one, it literally was never going in the feeds. I don't think it's even in there nowadays. Or today, I don't know why I said...
Hating on After Hours, dude. Susan isn't a fan.
I can't take the truth. What can I say? You know, I'm just...
Yeah, they can't handle it.
So,
yeah, YouTube has been doing a lot of weird censoring recently. Something that recently happened to my new video is that apparently my thumbnail broke community guidelines, so they removed it.
What thumbnail was it?
The Alinity Part 4, where it's just like Alinity making like that face.
It was a picture of her like double chin face or whatever. That's all it was.
Yeah,
there was nothing sexual in it at all.
There was nothing sexual in it. It said it broke community guidelines. It didn't say what community guidelines. I didn't get a strike for it because you don't get strikes for thumbnails. But just removed it. Okay. I just added back on.
Really? That's all it took?
Yeah.
And you got like an email for it, like a notification. Like,
I got an email. I can read it out to see what it says.
I mean, we talked about this on Monday or whatever, but you know, there was that whole theory, and I talked about this in the video that I did yesterday on Alinity, but like this theory that YouTube was actually removing thumbnails to protect, you know, certain creators when they were getting called out. Like when you search like Alinity or Invader V or something, and you see like the videos that come up from Kavos, me, Tipster or whatever, the thumbnails were not loading, but if you look up like our names, like AugieRFC or Tipster or something, they would show the thumbnails, which was weird. Like a weird visual glitch. But now we got them actively like removing thumbnails, oddly enough, and not even specifying why. That doesn't even make any sense. I don't know. But the thing about shadow banning is like, it's called shadow banning for a reason. They don't want you to know, even though it's obvious when we're getting shadow banned, when like the views like randomly cut in half and people are in the chat being like, okay, you're not my feed anymore. I mean, it's obvious when it happens, but they try to like, it's more subtle than just outright being like, hey, by the way, your stream's not showing up, so get wrecked. You know, they're not even saying that. That's strange. Strange indeed. Yeah.
And that video in particular didn't do well. I don't think that's necessarily on YouTube though, because it's not natural because basically what happened is I uploaded the video and I forgot to render the last minute out. I re-uploaded it. The first version of the video got like 30k views in an hour. And the second version got 7k views in an hour. And then, like, past that point, like, and I understand that because, like, the 30k people already watched the original, they're not going to watch the re-upload. But then, like, it wasn't in the algorithm because of that, so it ended up getting lower views than usual. So, I don't know if that's, like, YouTube.
YouTube just constantly...
That was also the video with the banned thumbnails. I don't know if that's, like, YouTube shadow banning it because of that circumstance.
I've heard stories for like some channels, like YouTube will just randomly like delete all their thumbnails and they gotta like manually put them back in or something, or sometimes they can't even do that. I don't know if that's like a glitch or if that's on purpose. I don't know, but regardless, YouTube's weird. But hey, we're not gonna focus on that because we're chads. We're complete slayers of the YouTube game. We just hit 11k over here. Of course, Bowblax with his 100k. But we're not going to talk about Bowblax's accomplishment. I hit 11k, all right? So we're kind of, you know, we're doing good things over here. I want to give a shout out to all the people who've been supporting me. Earlier today, I kind of took a look at, you know, this month's income or whatever, and I noticed that quite a lot of it was donations. So, and, you know, people had actually raised quite a lot of donations, and it wasn't just like one singular like donation that was like, you know, adding like the whole stack. It was like a lot of like individual small donations that kind of added up. And so I was thinking, I was like, damn, well, people really came through this month, so I want to thank you guys for that. Yeah, we're doing pretty well actually. We're staying in the game. One thing that I liked was that we covered like Onision and J-Station and the Leafy stuff, and then the iDub stuff, and like it's like all these like multi-topics that have kind of, you know, introduced like a wide, you know, scoop of people or whatever. It's not just like one thing that I'm now relying on. So I want to just give a shout out to the people who are supporting. Even the video I put out today already had 1,000 views. Go check that out, by the way, if you missed it. It was something I wanted to cover on Monday. Keemstar calling out Repsilon. I did it in a video instead, and so you can go check that out there. But anyway, all that to say, thank you, first off. But second off, today, I got to kind of... We're going to be talking about Jeffree Star in Mom's Basement. That, for those who don't know, that's Keemstar's Spotify podcast he does with FaZe Banks, Colossal's Crazy, and of course himself. They brought Jeffree Star on, and the first 50 minutes of it was kind of, some schmoozing. I don't know if you're familiar with that word. I don't know if that's a word people use. It's a debate. It's a word I learned in debate or whatever. It's,
no one uses that word.
Schmoozing. You got to smooze with the judges, with your opponents too. Anyway, so the first 50 minutes is them just kind of hanging out, chilling, maxing, relaxing, and then, they start to get into it. Now, I'd watched the first 30 minutes of the entire podcast, so I'd seen the first 50 minutes of, the kind of foreplay or whatever, and then I'd seen the first 50 minutes of the actual action. And what I had seen from it so far was Colossal really kind of asking the hard-hitting questions, and it's interesting, too, because he was an outsider to this. It's not like he's like a tea channel or a beauty channel where he's like in the know-how, he's been following these stories for a long time or whatever. He's an outsider, and he was kind of asking really the questions people wanted to hear. He's getting a lot of praise for the episode, and then you had FaZe Banks jumping into it, being like, "Well, dude, bruh," kind of playing, defense for Jeffree. And I don't want to be too hard on the interviewers. I think even with Hansen. Now, we've been critical of Hansen, but even with Hansen, sometimes I feel like, there's stuff to criticize Hansen for, obviously, but when it comes to some of his interviews, I feel like people are just expecting way too much out of the interviewers. Ultimately, it comes down to the interviewees and how much they're going to say themselves. Now, the interviewers can, implement certain tactics, get as most out of their guests as possible, and with Hansen, I think he kind of was softballing it a little bit on his interview on Sunday. But all that to say, I think, Colossal was actually going ham at some points, and you had, Banks, who was just completely just ruining it. And by the way, can I just say, Banks, the ultimate cockblock in general, you get a brand new shows announced. You got Keemstar and Colossal's Crazy. Oh yeah, it's like 2016 again. And FaZe Banks. He's just kind of, he's just like there. It's like, okay, well, he's not the worst. I'll admit, he's not the worst host or whatever. He can be entertaining, but he's also just, he's like there. The show is marketed as Keemstar and Banks, but really what people want to see is Keemstar and Clown. That's what they want to see. They want to see that 2016 energy. And then you just see FaZe sitting there. So it's like, okay, well, whatever.
Yeah. I feel like Banks just helps with like the branding for like it being
he's
on
famous.
Spotify
he's
and
in
like
with the LA
with the
crew.
legitimacy and the stability of the podcast, like monetarily. And he's not too much of an interference. Honestly, I think I kind of like his contributions to some of the conversations in the other episodes.
He can be
in
okay.
The Jeffree episode though, it was very apparent.
Yeah, he can be okay. He's got kind of that like bro, like he doesn't really give a fuck. He's just this. Well, he pretends to be like this sort of.
He pretends to not give a fuck. He gives too much of a fuck.
Well, I'm talking about like the vibe he gives off, this very like bro, what's up, bro? I don't know.
Yeah, there was one episode where they were talking about coronavirus, and he's like, "Guys, this is stressing me out. Let's stop talking about coronavirus. Let's stop this negativity." The stupid theme that I hate about FaZe Banks and this podcast, which really brings it down, since the whole point of the podcast is to kind of be like baited and kind of be like confrontational in a sense. Or talk about like negative things, is that Banks is always like, let's stop talking about the negativity, let's talk about the positivity. Oh, humans are humans, let's just be a good fucking human.
She's got like that 2017 energy where it's like, wow, drama's over, let's bring back positivity, and it's just like, nah, let's talk about the drama. Come on now.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. To be fair, it isn't marketed as a drama podcast per se, so it's not like he's going against the branding there. But I mean, that's what people are there for. They're there for the conversations. They're there for the inside. They're there for the conflict. And I think, yeah, definitely FaZe Banks. It's just kind of like, I call him like the cock block of the show. You're there for something, and then Banks just completely gets in the way. And you're like,
yeah, okay, it's funny because
can you shut up now?
Clown pulls it in a controversial direction, and then Banks pulls it in like the safe direction, and then Keem is just in the middle, being like,
he wants the blood, but at the same time, he also is like, well,
Keem,
the marketing, the shekels.
Middle ground in this podcast. Usually, in all these like trio podcasts, Keem's like one extreme and Clown's the other. Yeah. And then there's someone in between. Here, it's Banks is one extreme, Clown is another, and Keem's in the middle, which I find kind of interesting. Not to say that Keem is acting differently, it's just a different dynamic.
Colossal's also like he comes from like a very like toxic 2016 YouTube, and he's being kind of thrust into a more mainstream world, which is kind of interesting, right? Because you would never see Colossal in this world if it weren't for Keem kind of bringing him in, you know. It's kind of like you know, on our channel, you know, we bring Ben into all these chats and he's talking to all these YouTubers, and just like the other night I saw like Ben was like we all got off Ben's stream, he's playing games or whatever, him and BWC are streaming Warzone, and I'm just like, there's such a weird combo, but like, you know, we kind of like thrust him into this world. It's the same dynamic with Colossal and Keem. He kind of just brings Colossal into this world. He just kind of sits there.
Yeah, it's like you know? The LA like corporate like, you know, influencer world. Yeah, that's probably the best way to put it. Influencer, because you immediately
the guy making all the fat jokes on the show, you know, which is
and Clown is just like the normal guy who hops in and he's like, what's this shit, lol? You know, they're all talking
that's
like...
That's the thing, right? Because here's what I noticed from this podcast. There's so many different ways, and we'll stop rambling or whatever and play it in just a moment if that's what you're here for. But I just want to make this point here. That's something you see in a lot of these interviews, is different ways to get around interviewing the guests. The goal of the interviewer is to get the most out of who they're interviewing. And when it comes to certain guests and certain situations, you got to implement different tactics. Do you go in and just hammer them immediately? Or do you kind of, you know, schmooze with them for maybe even like an hour max? And then sort of slowly introduce, you know, the questions, the conflict or whatever, you know, kind of make them feel comfortable so that they'll let out as much as possible. Or you just go in completely naked. And that's what we saw with like the Kill Shroom when they were interviewing Onision. Dude, you and me and Nick joined a call with Ralph and Dick Masterson before that show even began. And the one thing we all knew when we left that call was, look, this is going to go down horribly, but it's going to be entertaining as fuck. What ended up happening was actually a pretty damn good interview. Now, obviously, you know, we didn't get like the damning soundbite that's going to send Onision to prison, but we were never going to get that in the first place. And I think that's something a lot of people who were sucked into that whole Chris Hansen hype really had to come to terms with, is that, look, there's just not enough here. We've been seeing Onision coverage and Onision content for years straight, and we've been promised and, you know, really sold this sort of idea that he's going to jail. And I think it happened, you know, around February or whatever. We all slowly realized, okay, this is just never gonna happen. Not to say Onision's not a shitty person. That's something we can all agree on. But when it comes to criminality, it's just simply never going to happen. And it was a tough pill, I think, for a lot of people to swallow, but it was the inevitable thing we all had to come to terms with here. So, you know, that whole Kill Shroom Onision interview, it wasn't like we got like that damning audio bite where it's like, you know, that mundane moment where Onision just spilled the beans. He's like, yes, I had sex with somebody underage, and everybody was like, oh shit. And then the cops came in and the FBI was like, open up, and then they came in and arrested Onision. That never happened, all right? But we got a damn good interview that I think kind of dissected the sort of brain of Onision, and really just kind of showed us who Onision really was. Onision is a guy who has the mindset of a 15-year-old, and he's sort of locked in that frame. You look at how Onision reacts to things, how he takes things in, how he talks, how he interacts with people. He acts like a 15-year-old in a, how old is he, like a 30-year-old man's body? And that's what you got. He is perpetually locked behind that sort of mindset. And that interview really kind of, it was weird to see him interact and to see him talk about these things. You know, when he's talking about, you know, just the tip and all that, you know, it was funny, but it was strange to look at. And all that to say is sometimes, you know, these were people that were not Ralph, Dick Masterson. These are not anti-O's. These are not tea people. These are not beauty people or whatever. They're literally as far from it as humanly possible. They went into this completely blind, not knowing what to expect, and what you got out of it was a pretty damn good interview. So I think, you know, it's the same thing with Colossal. Colossal doesn't know the Jeffree Star Davi Vanity stuff. You know, I don't think he even knew anything about it at all until a few hours before the show began. And what you saw is he was, you know, as somebody who had no idea what was going on, really taking in all the information, he was really able to ask, you know, the questions that we were all thinking that we wanted to
without any outside bias to where it's like...
Exactly.
He's just asking the common sense
He's just being fed a bunch of information immediately, and he's like Jeffree processing that at that moment, and what you get is a better interview as a result of it.
And then, and he got really good questions that Jeffree was about to answer, and then Banks swoops in and he's like, well, it's like, okay, shut the fuck up. Like, Banks, like, when you listen to this, Banks, like, you can tell it's going to be a good, like, answer, and then Banks just, like, fucking cock blocks completely.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like he's trying to help get the answer, it's like he's actually, like, making the podcast worse actively, in my opinion. At those moments in time, he did... You know, I don't know. Maybe he shouldn't have been on that episode. Maybe he should have slept in, like, clowned it on the...
Maybe you should have just gone the fuck off.
On the, East episode, right. But yeah.
Let me read a few super chats. Let me see. Let's... I know there was... Hold on now. Let me open up my page. I think I'm missing a few here. Because I know there were some... Let me open my super chat page on YouTube. It's acting a little... Streamlabs that being a little glitchy tonight. By the way, welcome to the show, everyone. Over 200 watching right now on youtube.com/AugieRFC. And over 3 people watching on dlive.tv/Augie. Really represent the DLive crew over there.
Damn, is that a DLive record, dude? Is that like your highest viewership on DLive?
Dude, we're breaking new grounds over here.
Holy shit. What if we could get to 4?
Shoutouts in the chat. Luna Lizzie Pegasus, Thank Blast, Kilo Soul, Lexi, Creepshow Art, what's going on? Mr. Metal Skull, Woodbringer, L Sheep, Lazy, Itachi, Ashley Wong, and one more shout out in the chat over here. Michael, what's going on? Crew, what's going on? Crew. Let me just open up my super chat page here. How do I do that? The YouTube Studio change. It looks different. Okay, there we go. There's the page. By the way, apparently YouTube gave me access to stories now. I recorded my first story on my phone earlier today, and it's still processing. Like, it's been processing all day, and I don't know why. It's like 30 seconds long. So I got stories now. Maybe you'll see it. I don't know. But they gave me that for some reason, so there you go. Okay, let me read these super chats. Creepshow Art through 10 before the show even began. It says, "Sup? What's up? Thanks for shouting my video out, by the way. I'm really glad my video on this Jeffree Star stuff did well on Monday. Not to say that it blew up or anything, you know, it did well relative to my channel for a video that's really covers stuff that, you know, my audience isn't familiar with and I'm not really familiar with. I kind of want this story to be shined on beyond, you know, the T channels or whatever, because I think there's something more interesting here at play. And I think it's something worth looking at if you're like me and you normally don't give a fuck about, you know, or not say not give a fuck, but you don't pay attention to this whole other side of the internet. Abyss Walker Rat through 2 says FaZe Balds did it so Jeffree can give him a wig. Mike the Bike through 2 says FaZe Banks is too normally. He's no Tommy C / anything for views. Batman Who Laughs through 5 says Augie recently discovered your channel and love it. Serious question though, why do you not like the quartering? I mean, I don't hate him, but I think he's a little bit of a bitch when it comes to jokes or whatever. Recently, I took one of his screenshots where he says something edgy. He was like, you know, jokingly defending Hitler. And anyone who watches my channel knows, like, I'm edgy as fuck. I'm very non-PC. I joke about stuff all the time that I probably shouldn't. But I thought that it was a funny tweet and I shared it, and then he all of a sudden started jumping on my ass. He was like, well, why are you trying to cancel me? You know the context. You're just leaving it out. And I'm like, chill out, dude. I'm not trying to cancel you. Anyone who watches me knows I'm totally fine with Hitler jokes. Relax. I'm not trying to cancel you. And I think you know that. I think you try to twist me as the one who is disingenuous, but I think he's more the one who is being disingenuous there. So not a big fan of the quartering. Although I will say he has done good things for my friends. Cannot ignore that. I just think he's a little bit of a bitch. That's all.
Dude, my favorite, I don't know if the quartering specifically made this accusation against you, but my favorite accusation that people make against you is when they call you an SJW.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Okay. Dude, somebody did a stream once trying to call me like an SJW, and then in the same stream tried to expose me for being like homophobic, and I'm like, okay, so I'm an SJW that hates gay people, because that makes a lot of sense. All right, buddy. And they said, it's not even like they said like one thing one day and then another thing the next day. They said it in the same stream within like an hour of each other. I'm like, which one is it? Am I like a super big like libtard, or am I like a fucking like racist? Like, pick one, all right? Stick with it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. You're either one extreme or the other.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind that someone would call you an SJW. Like, I can understand, like, people not getting your jokes and calling you, like, racist or something, but SJW just makes no sense.
Okay, buddy, yeah. Mike the Reich through 3 says, FaZe Banks is a bitch. Stefan through 2 says, yo, what's up? Alright, enough super chats. Let's go ahead and play the podcast. Now, I'm just now remembering this is a Spotify thing, so hopefully I'll be able to share my Spotify window for you. Why is it installing Spotify? I already have it installed. Installation is not complete. Spotify yes, cancel. There's an archive on YouTube somewhere. I can just play that one.
I mean, I can play it as well.
Okay, I got it. Let me go ahead and open my thing here. Where is it? Mom's basement. Alright. Let me share my window. Boomer hours right now. Alright, change window. Application. There we go. Okay, you see that?
Yes.
I'm gonna play a little bit. Can you hear that? Because I can't.
No.
No? Okay, fuck this. We'll watch the YouTube one. Fuck Spotify. We'll just watch on YouTube. Somebody threw like an archive that I had to use or whatever.
Mom's Basement exclusively on Spotify until you don't know how it works, and then you post it on YouTube. Lol.
Yeah. Any YouTube video sharing the link in the podcast is getting flagged down. Well, like
not sharing the link.
Well, Keem, like don't flag it right now because I need to like watch this. So just flag it after the show, all right? Mom's Basement, Jeffree Star. Let's begin this. And we'll start at like 16, 15 minutes or whatever when it gets juicy.
Jeffree.
By the way, sorry to the re-uploader because you're about to get striked, lol.
Wait, is the link in the description? We gotta double check.
Does he even link it? Okay, he links it.
Oh, it's linked. It's linked. He's safe.
Yeah.
Angel is safe.
You're not gonna strike my ass, Keemstar, are you?
Wait,
really? Banks is like, Chris Hansen!
What?
Okay, are you hearing that?
Yeah.
Alright.
He walks through the door right now. Hey, that's the last person you want to.
He's actually in my car right now. He's way.
No.
Oh my god.
Before we get into it, Clown. Like, if we could get a little backstory, Jeffree, could you explain it like a little?
He's safe, but you're not. All right, buddy.
Watch out,
Augie. The backstory of kind of like what's going on with this blood on the dance floor.
Like, yes. Serial flagger.
Yeah.
It's like my name out in Susie Lou.
Alright, guys. Well, we're getting flagged, so watch this on link in description for flagged.
Or for flag. I think he means or flagged, but
Alright, well, send me a link and I'll throw it in the description.
With dyslexia, I don't know how you put an extra letter. Like, I understand, like, missing letters, but an extra one?
Alright, let's start the podcast.
Yeah, so I used to tour with an array of people. One of the acts was called Blood on the Dance Floor. It was kind of like a wannabe Jeffree Star, MySpace Music. They started because of me. And one of the main creator, his name is Davi. His real name is Jesus Torres. His name is Davi Vanity. That's been his stage name forever. And we toured a few times. We recorded a very offensive, sexual, crazy song together. And we did Warped Tour twice. And now what's coming to light is, back in the day, there was allegations that he was trying to sleep with underage girls, that he had, maybe he did, no one was really sure, and we all I'm not gonna word the word ganged up because it's a very serious subject, but we all ganged up.
All right, does this sound familiar? Are you listening to what I'm listening to? This sounds like an I'm Alex situation, you know? Like, you hear rumors, so immediately all the friends or whatever start,
Yeah, exactly. Up. That's the exact excuse that I'm Alex used with the Slazo allegation. He didn't know the Slazo allegation was true. He lived with Slazo, but everyone else was saying it, so he had to come out and say it. And that's the exact same thing with Jeffree. Jeffree hung out with this guy in real life. He didn't see anything. He didn't see any proof towards Davi Vandy being a pedo or what have you. And then his friends said it's true, so he's like, "Oh, this is disgusting," and like types all this.
Now we don't know what
Twitter.
the rumors are.
It's the same. It's the exact same.
Here's the deal, right? We don't know what the rumors are. Perhaps they had some more weight to them than it was just like, oh, someone tipped me or whatever. But here's the deal, right? So they heard rumors. They didn't have concrete proof. And immediately Jeffree's, response is to disassociate and, just not work with this guy anymore, which is a fair response, right? I would even say, like, maybe look into the rumors first, but, to disassociate, this guy you're working with is under hot water for some potentially serious shit. You want to disassociate.
Yeah.
But then he goes on Twitter and calls him like a child rapist.
Oh, yeah,
like the response is just not logical at all. It's just like, I'm Alex on steroids. Like, say what you will about Alex. He's garbage. We all know this. We've done like 50 streams on Alex or whatever. The thing about Alex is that he never went on, and he was sneaky about it, but he never went on and specifically, started going on Twitter and was like, Slazo is a child rapist. I've seen him do horrible things to children or what. Like, that was obvious. If he had done that, he would have been way more game over than what actually happened to him. That's what Jeffree did. And Jeffree was much smaller at the time, so it wasn't as big of a deal as if it would have happened, today or whatever, right?
Well, I feel like maybe back then he was just as big as I'm Alex is now. But what I was about to say is that either way, whichever one is true, whether, Davi Vandy is guilty or innocent, I haven't really looked into the situation, so I don't know specifically, if Davi is innocent or guilty, but I guess he's guilty. But either way, whether he's innocent or guilty, he's wrong either way, Jeffree Star, because he either didn't give his friend the benefit of the doubt and jumped onto Twitter to call him a rapist, just like I'm Alex did with Slazo, or he knew he was actually telling the truth and he knew he was being a pedo, and he decided to work with him anyways afterwards. So it's he's wrong either way.
Yeah, it's the inconsistency that kills him, because no matter what side you can look at this from, and I'm trying to look at this as objectively as possible, we've ran stories, and I know some Davi people are going to be pissed that you're saying a legend or whatever, but here's the deal, right? We've ran stories
I just don't know, I literally
where it's just it's just so dangerous to just assume, well, a lot of people are calling him out and they're showing some pretty damning stuff, so it must be true or whatever. You got to be careful this type of shit, right? We've seen this happen so many times. That's all 2019 was about, was the sexual assault cancel culture or whatever. I'm gonna hit a couple super chats because I think they talk about what we're talking about right now. Let's see. Mike the Bike through 5 says, as a man with perfect taste in music, blood on the dance floor is a crime against the sense of sound. Jeffree's music is pretty bad too. Well, I can't say I've listened, and I can't say I have any plans to, but I'll take your word for it. Creepstar through 20, very generous. The rumors were the posts on Sticky Drama showing he actually said he forced himself on a minor. Okay, so he had heard this, disassociated, called him a child rapist on Twitter, claimed he had seen some things, and as we're gonna see later on the podcast, Jeffree said, well, I actually didn't see it myself, I just, heard things.
Regardless of what actually happened, I just think if you pull the I'm gonna call my associate a child rapist on Twitter card, I don't think you get to work with them again, no matter what. Who calls someone a rapist to millions of people and it's I'm gonna work with them again a year later?
Now, like I said, I don't think Jeffree was nearly as big at the time. From my knowledge, I'd seen some other screenshots of tweets, some of them had 60, 70 likes or whatever. That's what I get now. So he couldn't have been that famous. He also was missing,
Twitter's overall user base was also smaller.
It was a lot smaller.
I'm pretty sure his main platform was MySpace and stuff like that.
God.
I think he was one of the more popular people. Obviously, that number relevant to today would be lower. I mean, the biggest YouTuber back then was probably at 1 million subs, right? And now we know people at 1 million subs. So obviously the numbers, we can't really directly correlate them from 2000 numbers to 2020 numbers. But I think Jeffree Star was pretty big in the industry at that time. Not as big as he is now, but I think he was pretty well known, as well known as maybe Alex is now in his space. Okay.
Hernan through 50 ARS says, Augie, can you put a picture of Susie Lou on screen so we can have that forehead trifecta? Well, maybe I'll find one. Let's keep listening to the podcast here, and hear him out.
Up as a community kind of in the Warped Tour world and called this person out, and there was never any a real arrest. There was no criminal charges and nothing ever happened with it. So 2 years later, I did one last tour. I Thank you. And people are connecting that, hey, you called this person out and then you worked with a pedophile again. And I'm like, oh, we're not doing this. So that's what's people have been trying to start that rumor.
I like how he acts like it's ridiculous. Wow, I can't believe you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Person I haven't thought of in so long, and I guess that they're currently in it with the new stage name, currently trying to bait girls. So what's happening is all these drama channels are using me as a way to amplify the situation, and they're all benefiting from this financially, okay? Which, Keem, you know, that got them really fired up yesterday.
Right.
But the thing is
I'm assuming he's referencing the Edwin stream, you know, that had like 3,000 viewers or something, where they were all coming on talking about it. Yeah, so he had probably watched, like, I don't know if all of it, but he probably watched some of it.
Yeah, I mean, Keem was on it, so he probably did. He probably saw the donations, and that's what he's talking about, monetary, like drama channels are making money off him. Because I find it weird that he would say that in a call with Keem when, you know, Keem literally makes money off drama. So...
Well, here's the deal, right?
Yeah.
This is what you're going to see a lot of in the podcast, is him latching after the drama channels. He had done this on Chris Hansen as well. I hadn't talked about it in the video because I need to keep it as concise as possible, and I didn't think that was relevant compared to what else I was talking about. But he really does not like the drama channels, and he spends a lot of time like making them like sort of the scapegoat or whatever. And yeah, it is true. They're talking about this. They're monetizing it, but so what? Like, I like to get paid for my work. I'm sure they do too. Just because they're talking about something serious.
Your points are invalid because you make money off it, Augie.
Yeah,
your points
and
are invalid because you make money off it.
He says later on, he's like, well, of course, you know, they're not donating the money to the victims or whatever. And I'm just like, they don't have to. That's not relevant at all to anything.
Oh, why aren't you donating your makeup money to the victims, huh?
Yeah, I mean,
well,
like,
yeah,
you can just sit there and just be like, well... You aren't doing this, but is that relevant? How does that relate to the conversation here? Critically think here for a minute. This does not mean anything. He's being called out for some contradictory statements in the past and associating with somebody he formerly called a child predator. And given his size and given his power and his influence, that is totally relevant to the Davi Vanity stuff, right? Like, yeah, if we're dealing with somebody who's an alleged, like, child predator and people want to see justice, obviously, primarily the attention should be focused on that. But he is also somewhat of a relevant figure in this story. We're not, like, I don't think anyone's saying that he's working with him now or protecting him, but it is something to call out. It's something to pay attention to. It's something to take note of. We've also seen this happen repeatedly. Most notably the James Charles situation, where he claimed he had information on James Charles, and then a year later, they're working with each other again, or at the very least, amicable, which is strange, right? Because if you're, you know, a year ago, you had, you know, information on a guy that if he was doing some sick shit, that ought to get out there. You have an obligation to publish that, as long as it's, you know, there's weight to it, there's, you know, proof or whatever. But he just completely ignored it, dropped it, and now they're cool again, and it's all cool. If James Charles is a rapist, or I don't even know what he was going to accuse James of, but it must have been something terrible, and if what you believed back then was true, you're letting somebody horrible get away with some alleged shit. That's bad. Exactly. That's really, really, really bad. So we're seeing a pattern of misbehavior here. This is totally relevant and should be called out here, but he's going to sit here and be, well, you know, the drama channels, they have self-interest. Okay, and does that change? Like, let's say all the drama channels who are calling this out, they were just like, man, I don't give a fuck about the victims. It doesn't matter to me. I'm totally in it for the money. Let's say they were all exactly like that. That'd be a horrible, you know, mentality to have, but it wouldn't change anything that they're saying. It doesn't change the content of what they're talking about. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change anything. It just changes, it changes their intentions, and it changes whether or not they're, oh, you know, openly good people or not. Okay, maybe all these people are horrible people, they're shitty. What does that change with what they're saying, with what they're accusing? It doesn't matter. It doesn't change a fact. So, I just want to make that clear.
Yep.
$10 through Jim the Grapple says, playing devil's advocate, Jeffree did say he saw actions he thought were fairly inappropriate, but not outright sexual. So that could have been enough to convince him the allegations had merit. True, but with allegations, you gotta take that shit highly seriously. Like, I don't fault him necessarily for disassociating, you know, just being like, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't, you know, I don't know if they're true or not, but maybe I should just, cut it off.
Yeah, but he took the extra step to say,
exactly.
Yeah, he's a rapist and stuff. So.
Exactly. He literally just called James talented and amazing on Twitter, then said he is a predator. Yeah, and we showed us some tweet where he's talking to James Charles's brother, being like, fuck you, your brother's a predator, what you gonna do about that? Obviously a paraphrase, but he said to his brother's face on Twitter, your brother is a predator. And now it's A-okay? What happened? Where's the clarity? Where's the explanation? Was it all bullshit? Were you full of shit back then? Are you full of shit now? Is it both?
Well, he'll try to explain it in the podcast. I think the answer is not satisfactory, but it becomes pretty interesting. And actually, that's the point in the podcast where he's about to say something that's really important, and then FaceBanks cockblocks us. So
he said to his face on Twitter. Yeah, he said on Twitter. I shouldn't have said to his face, because that implies that it's, like IRL. It's both. That's what I'm thinking. But yeah, let's keep listening. Yeah, this is just, wow.
I did not see a crime ever committed in person. And there's a lot of people that in their head want to believe that I did, and I of course never did, because that's horrifying, and I would of course report it. And it's so absurd to copy and paste all these old videos of Jeffree and Dobby grab people from the crowd and dance with them on stage. Is that not every rock show you've ever been to as a kid? So they're trying to vilify me and somehow make me complicit to this piece of shit, and it's shocking that they're more so.
Who is arguing that he's complicit with this? I haven't seen that argument before. If somebody did make that argument, that's fair to call out, But I think people aren't saying, from what I've seen, that, oh, well, Jeffree's working with him even now. He's protecting this guy or whatever. I haven't seen that argument made.
So people are using the Davi Vandy situation as an example to James Charles being, or not James Charles, my bad, Jeffree Star being disingenuous, rather than using Jeffree Star and blaming him for Davi Vandy stuff. I think it's kind of like the opposite, because he's seeing it from a perspective where people are using Jeffree Star to say that, he's just as bad as Davi Vandy or whatever, which is obviously not the case. But I think it's more so people are talking about the Davi Vandy situation separately from the James Charles situation, and then they're using James Charles, sorry, I keep saying James Charles instead of Jeffree Star. That's a very important distinction. My bad. I mean Jeffree Star. Jesus Christ. They both have J in their names. They're using the Jeffree Star's involvement with the Davi Vandy situation to prove that Jeffree Star himself is disingenuous, and that's kind of separate from the pedo stuff, right?
Yeah, I guess his argument is more
I explained that really badly.
Well, let me help you out here. I think what you're saying is like, okay, so his criticism is you guys are taking this case that should primarily be focused on getting, a potential predator, getting proof and getting him locked up or whatever, and you're just using this to attack me for views and money. That's basically what he's saying. Which I don't.
But instead, it's more we're attacking Jeffree Star outright, but then we're using the Davi Vandy thing as a example to prove us going against.
I just don't see an issue with that.
Yeah,
I don't see fuck it, dude. Kill two birds with one stone. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not the best choice of words, but I don't know. I still don't see a link to Mom's Basement. Bowblax, you're fired. You didn't send me that link.
I can't edit the description. Get the link yourself.
Fuck's sake. I'm asking for a link because I don't know how to find a Spotify link.
It's in the description of the video you're watching.
Oh shit, you're right. Okay. All right. Well, let me grab this. This is a link to the show. Copy episode link. There we go. All right. I'll throw it at the top, Kim.
Wow, fucking simp! You just cucked.
Yeah, dude. Link to Mom's.
Bitch, dude.
I'm bowing down right now, bro. All right, there we go. Save. There. Move on with the show.
Wow, I can't believe you bent over.
Focusing on me and our friendship, then putting this person in jail.
What?
So it's very bizarre, Keem, and it's been an interesting week.
It's a tough position to be in. I mean, when it comes down to something like this, it's obviously these are very serious allegations. It's a very serious subject. I'd be lying if I said I was never put in a situation where I've heard through the grapevine or felt a weird vibe and then kind of was forced to be around certain individuals that I didn't have any real concrete evidence or proof against, which just trying to be the best human I can be, I prefer to give people the benefit of the doubt, and I'd like to know for sure before I fully convict somebody in my head.
On Twitter and called someone a rapist to Banks. That's the big difference here.
So, I don't know. It's a weird thing.
I mean, I know that firsthand experience that you really like. What you just said is 100% true with a mutual person that we both know that something came out about. I don't know why I said that because I can't really say because there's a legal matter going on. But anyhow,
we'll bleep it out again. But are you talking about Wolfie?
Romeo.
Oh, Romeo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who used to?
Did they forget to bleep that out?
Or I guess they just decided not to.
Yeah,
they already talked about it on Drama Alert. Yeah, it's not
knows.
like it's secret info, but
Try to have sex with me back in the day, just for the record.
Oh my
dude,
God.
Listen. While we're on the subject,
subpoena me, baby.
We don't have. I mean, we could talk about this on the show, yeah, Keem, or with the law. I'm free. I'm free to talk to open.
I think in this part of the show they kind of go off topic or whatever. So
yeah, we can maybe.
Let me
watch
like
2 times speed to try and find the point where.
I think they only go off for like 5 minutes or something. We can find.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Whatever. Let's just skip like.
Only talk about this show.
Yeah.
Let's skip like 2 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, but guess what? No, I'm not going there.
Go ahead, say it. Please say it. Please say it.
Yeah, but so are people who draw child porn, so it doesn't mean a.
All right. Well, that was a bad part to skip.
Yeah, that's a nice place to start at, Augie. Thank you.
Yeah.
21 survivors.
Sorry,
Okay,
But blood on the dance floor. So now, Banks, a lot of the victims are coming forward. There's 21. So I call them survivors.
Wow.
The 21 survivors.
21
were brave enough to come forward about this person, but there is still not a conviction. So everyone.
I'm Alex is 25, right? Oracle of Sexual Assault.
It's not quite there yet. Hey, is the Oracle of Sexual Assault covering this?
Yeah.
Is
Wait,
he
we
actually?
need to get the Oracle of Sexual Assault on this.
No, I'm wondering if like Alex is like hammering the story. He probably is. He is.
I don't know. He said he was done with drama after the Slazo stuff. I don't know if he's gonna.
We put the Oracle of Sexual Assault out of business. Oh no, who's gonna report all the sexual assault now?
I know iNabber's doing a video on Jeffree Star. It might be out by now. I don't know about I'm Alex. I think he might just skip this one. He can make money without talking
Leave
about
it to the
stuff.
yeah.
I don't know if he wants to touch sexual assault again.
I'm someone who likes to leave things to the experts, like the Oracle of Sexual Assault himself.
Yeah. Can we get
going
Alex
back
on
to
here
the history, and because look, I'm just gonna say it because it's me. I'm famous. There's a lot happening. Let's use me, and but I just don't get it. If I saw something.
The thing they're hung up on.
So you never witnessed him doing anything illegal, is what you're saying?
Well, your name is naturally going to bring in a bunch of views.
Shut up,
Oh
Banks.
my god, that was so annoying. Because Clown.
Well, your name is
and
so
Keem,
big, bro. You got a lot of clout. That's all.
Yeah. Keem was about to say a good question, and Clown cut him off and said pretty much probably the same thing Keem was gonna say, and then Banks just why does Banks reply there? Is clearly a direct question to Jeffree Star.
Banks got a call. He was like,
well,
"Oh, you can't talk about that one."
Oh my god, that was
no. Shut it down.
the conversation wasn't going anywhere, and he was taking a while to respond. Yeah, maybe. Okay, Banks hop in.
You can hear him
but what
shitting himself. Yeah.
Damn. That wasn't good.
Obviously, and that's what the drama.
All right, let's listen to his response here.
When channels are doing it, and they know what they're doing, but no, I never saw an illegal crime. And when I talked to Chris Hansen, we'll talk about that.
Crazy.
I told him that I saw inappropriate things, and people are taking that and running with it. Like, well, if you saw inappropriate things, you should have told some. No, I'm talking about like when you're dancing on stage. Yeah, you grind on people, you slap their ass. It was all part of the show. But when you tell someone that doesn't understand the rock world or that world, they take even what I'm saying right now out of context.
Yeah.
So you can't win.
Let me read the tweet.
A question for the people who really like are into this story or whatever. That video where Davi is like grinding on that girl who is very visibly looks like she's underage. Is that girl confirmed to be underage, or is that just speculation? I mean, she looks underage.
I think it's speculation, but I'm not sure. I haven't looked into it that.
Either way, though, of all the people in the room you could have grabbed to, because I understand, like, yeah, it probably is a different world. To us, like, that sounds like, whoa, what the hell? But, like, to them, I guess it's all part of the game or whatever. But, I mean, of all the people to grab from the crowd, did you have to go for, like, the youngest looking one?
Yeah. That's a bit weird. Also, we're about to hear it in the podcast, but I'm really glad that they like brought up the tweet word for word, because the way Jeffree was describing it was really downplaying the type of allegations he was making in the tweet.
Oh God!
And then Keem brings it up for word, which helps bring the conversation back to focus. So that was a good job.
That people are getting hung up on. Okay, so it's an old tweet from you, Jeffree, that says, I'm going to speak the truth until I die. We saw Davi bring underage girls to his hotel room and do sexual things 100%. So that's the thing where they're like,
yes,
he saw. Yeah.
Was that you assuming that happened?
No, that's people in the music scene telling me and me speaking for them.
Okay.
Did I see with my own eyes? No. Were we on tour a few times and there was always people around? Yeah, and I mentioned this yesterday and people were kind of shook. Mothers would bring their daughters to these shows.
I mean, that's such a misleading tweet, isn't it? That's so misleading.
Which part?
No? We saw Davi bring underage girls to his hotel rooms and do things 100% illegal. Of course, people are going to interpret that as you seeing that with your own eyes.
Oh, of course. So 10 years.
Jeffree didn't even understand at first. He's like, "What's misleading about that, huh? Wait, huh?"
It's probably freaking out a little bit. He's like,
he's so like caught up in his own logic of the situation that he doesn't even realize common sense.
Well, Bowblax, I'm kind of famous, you know.
Yeah,
he
well,
didn't even say that. He was like, well, let's just cut to the chase. I'm really famous. Yeah, okay, buddy. I mean, he is, but like,
years later, I'm telling people, did I see a crime or anything actual illegal? No. Other people did and told me that at the time, and then it was not proven for children themselves. A grown mother, as his band members say, Jeffree, I've been in his world for years and I've lived on the tour bus and I've never seen anything. So that's why I did the last tour. Did I ever actually see anything? No. So my tweets were other people saying that, you know, or maybe I'm saying it wrong.
No, of course. I mean, listen.
It's like you're telling me something and I believe.
So other people had told him that they had seen for sure illegal things happen, right?
Yeah.
But there was no proof ever presented. So he just tweeted like, I myself, in just the heat of the moment.
Yeah, he just said we. He was just talking for everyone who gave him that.
And he's confused.
But he included himself in there. It would be different. He could have worded the tweet like, I heard some things about Davi Vandy and it's disgusting, blah, blah, blah. Like, continue on with the tweet. But he said we.
Here's the deal.
As in, yeah.
It is possible. Because he mentions that he's a very dramatic person, right? So to give him full benefit of the doubt here, because you gotta be very, very, very careful with this stuff. It is possible that he had heard things, just like he described, and he had heard rumors. So in the heat of the moment, he just starts tweeting and putting himself as the one who saw these things to sound more credible to his audience, right? Like, it's not just like, because if you tweeted, I heard things, there would be speculation, but he's saying he himself heard them. So he tweeted it as if he was the one who saw it, so that he would sound more believable to his audience at the time. Not to excuse him for this, you know, miscommunication or whatever, but perhaps that was the mentality he had at the time, you know? Or maybe he really did see things and he's, you know, playing cover. That's a whole other conspiracy. But, yeah. All right, let me read a couple super chats. Goof Troop through 5 says, yes, Bowblax, having J's in their names the only thing they have in common. Mike the Black through 2. If you're gonna pick a girl from the audience, go thick. Go visibly overage, I would say, is the first priority. I don't know. But yeah.
So I'm gonna tweet it out.
At the end of the day, you're only human too. Like, maybe you did misspeak to an extent, but like that's gonna happen in your life at some point.
For sure. I mean, he's using the first person.
I feel like someone could murder someone and FaZe Banks would say, well, you're only human. Humans make
Banks is giving him as much benefit of the doubt in this particular instance as we just did. So, you know.
I know, but I just feel like Banks literally says that to everything. Like, I've watched every episode of this podcast, right? I just think it's funny. Like, I'm not necessarily criticizing it. I just think Banks would literally says that to almost everything. He's like, well, we're all humans at the end of the day. He says that a lot. It's like his phrase.
Yeah, we're all humans at the end of the day. You know what's one thing all humans...
you know what?
You know what's one thing all humans have in common? We're all flawed. Most of us are terrible people, too. So I don't really buy... We're all human. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, my goal is just to be the best human being at the end of the day. We're all human at the end of the day.
Go geriatric. Make sure she's... Hell yeah. Pick grandma. Worst case scenario. Nobody can make any accusations. You know? Like, just go oldest person in the room. Pick somebody from the back. You know,
some plural like we.
Yeah,
that's
the main
because
thing.
at that
to give him a
time,
defense.
The thing too about situations like this. Go ahead.
But because when I said we, there was people. My old dancer and assistant Daniel, he tweeted out a bunch of stuff, and other bands on the tour, and people in the music scene, like literally like all the people like Taking Back Sunday and those Warped Tour bands, they all thought he was really creepy, and there was just a bunch of he said, she said, and there was never any actual real proof back then, and it was just all. It was
the thing about situations like these too is hindsight is always.
What's that you're saying?
He believed the twit longer.
2020, right? Like looking back, like when things come to light, when people come forward, when there's more context and like people are filling in the gaps.
His aggressive behavior now really makes sense. But also other people were doing that, and it was very like that rock star life, and that there's no excuses for it. It's still disgusting and wrong. But if you were not there, you know. But yeah.
Do you think that there was enough evidence at the time? I mean, not even evidence, because like you said, you keep saying you didn't see it for yourself, but there were enough suggestions there to make you kind of hesitant, A, to work with him, and B, consider the possibility of reporting him. And do you regret not doing so now?
I regret working with them again. I didn't see anything to actually report. So when I say inappropriate behavior, I think people think it's something way more aggressive. And I never saw underage girls.
What does inappropriate behavior mean? I guess he's about to describe that.
With him alone, you know, there is a survivor that has went on record saying, hey, Jeffree and his friends were present during me being there in these times. And 10 years ago, I don't remember that person. And I'm not going to pretend to follow a narrative of what people want me to say that I saw. You know, what's crazy to me is a lot of mothers would bring their daughters to these shows. And I remember his band member. So yesterday I said this, that he would have alleged hookups with mothers and daughters. I don't know the daughters' ages. His band members told...
Well, as in a three-way between him and the mother and the daughter at the same time?
Yes, 100%. These mothers would bring there was this...
What the fuck, bro?
That's weird. Why would a mom want to...
You know, it's just all part of the rock world. We just...
Why would a mom want to fuck their own daughter with someone else? That's weird.
One mom that always brought her twin daughters to the tour, and they all allegedly did things on the back of the bus. Was I there for that?
The girls are of age. I think
but
that's
I don't know their age.
What? Wait, Banks! Whoa! Incest is cool? To Banks, as long as it's overage?
You see, so long as,
as long as the daughters are of age, they can smash the mom, you know?
Destiny.
Okay.
Whoa, Banks. FaZe Banks.
Hey, Banks. Jeez, man.
Holy
Did he grow up in, like, Alabama or something?
Banks is dumb. I really hope he just zoned out of the conversation.
I think it was an accident. Yeah, I think it was an accident.
They just say like, the mom and the twin daughters or whatever. He's like, well, you know, overage, you're fine.
Sweet.
I'm gonna have to disagree and disavow on. Holy shit.
Damn, Banks.
FaZe Banks supports incest. Confirmed.
Okay. Damn.
I mean, he said it, not me.
Banks had such controversial opinions.
Really giving them hot takes on Mom's Basement. You know, I'm starting to think actually he was a pretty good fit for this show. I'm starting to disagree with what I was saying earlier.
Wait, did the editor not catch that? Because I doubt they would have been able to say that intentionally on Mom's Basement. Because they said they're not allowed to say certain things on Mom's Basement that are a little, like, you know, out there. I'm surprised the editor didn't catch that.
Probably, in fairness, he was responding. He had to have been responding to something said earlier, and it was just because everyone's talking over each other. He just responded to something later on. It just sounded really.
Yeah, I know. It's just so funny.
But was I present for some of these mother and daughter of them being there and saying hi and bye on a tour bus? Yes. Was I there during any sexual experiences? Absolutely not. But I don't know the age of any of these people. But I never saw a child alone.
Can I ask you a question? Have any of these victims come forward and put you in a time and a place where you would have seen?
Yeah, one person has said that they saw me in an environment where they were alone with him and kissing. And I'm like, you guys... Absolutely not. So
believe all victims though.
Absolutely not. So this is something.
And he's saying they're all valid. They all had the strength to come out. And then one mentions, well, actually, you would have been there. And he's like, well, except for that one. Leave that part out. Yeah. Wait, hold on. Am I out of line here? Because that seems like a pretty strange contradiction.
Yes, no, you're not out of line. Because what Creepshow Art and Repzilla were saying earlier in the chat, and this goes to something that they'll talk about in the podcast later, is that Jeffree Star, when talking about the James Charles allegation, someone brought some evidence, quote unquote, to him, and he believed in. That's why he spoke out about Jeffree Star. And obviously, there's that parallel with the Davy Vandy stuff that was talked about earlier. So Jeffree Star automatically believes stories about, sexual assault that are brought to him, to the point of going on Twitter and ranting about it as if it's true. But, this allegation that involves him seeing something inappropriate. No. That's false.
All right then. Yeah, because I'm confused there.
It's a double standard for sure.
It was Jesse Slaughter? Okay. Yeah, I'd heard something about that. And hearing it now, he's, why do you support all of them, but the one that, includes you in the picture or whatever, that one's the one, well, come on now. Listen now your response to this. Back it up 10 seconds.
Yeah, one person has said that they saw me in an environment where they were alone with him and kissing, and I'm like, you guys, absolutely not. So people are so harped on
We're talking about a timeline where all this stuff happened like 10 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean...
And this person, you guys, it's so dark. This person, their mother dropped them off at 11 years old to hang out with rock stars and party and drink.
Man.
I wasn't around that environment. Hi, you have Tav in the room. I don't party. I kept to myself and I did my own thing. So I'm not going to be the scapegoat for this piece of shit that was never really my best friend. But yeah, I've tweeted out things like, yeah, that's my brother and he's great. Yeah, I said some things that I regret.
Wrong, as I was saying earlier. He's not being a scapegoat for Davy Vandy, people using Davy Vandy to prove that Jeffree Star is disingenuous. It's the opposite.
Yeah.
So he just has it backwards.
He was never my brother. I was convinced by people and him that he was not who people thought he was, and it worked for a short amount of time, and then things really came to light and we all said fuck you. All his band members quit and it all fell apart and we all said bye. So now people need to focus on prosecuting this man and stop worrying about my old friendship with someone from 10 years ago.
The classic, there's better things in the world to worry about than this argument.
Well,
one time I was talking about with getting into it with YouTube drama with someone, and they said there's more important things in the world like Corona to worry about right now. I'm like, what does that have to do?
Well, it's like the classic excuse, demean it as drama. It's just drama, Why are we all harped up on meaningless e-drama? Except there's a little bit more. I find it a little suspicious when people.
Well, it's just a scapegoat. It's a way to get out.
Yeah. When people are like, "Don't talk about this. Come on, guys. Nah, don't speak about this."
It's like, well, I might be guilty, but why are we talking about this in the first place, huh?
Yeah, it's just drama, bro.
I said this was 10 years ago, and it's not anybody's job to keep tabs on fucking everybody that they interact with or
people
around.
Are telling me, hey, Jeffree,
shut the fuck up, FaZe Banks. Ugh. This guy, man. It couldn't be more transparent if he tried, like every single time. I don't want to be too hard on Banks where it's like, okay, come on, leave him alone or whatever. But it's like, they get into it or whatever, and then and then Banks is like, well, and it's important to give benefit of the doubt or whatever. Don't get me wrong. But this is just like, let's get through the questions first before, you kind of give your take here. I don't know. Let me get through a couple super chats. Batman Who Laughs through 10 says, Augie, do you only do drama or drama news or news in general? If in general, have you heard about the mechanic who got fired for having an OnlyFans? I did hear a little bit about that. It just goes to show my point, and I'm not going to go on in this because this is Jeffree Star stream, but it does go to show my point that iDubbbz was wrong, that, doing sex work, being edgy, they're both of these, are similar in the fact that they will hurt your job potential or prospects or whatever. Not all the time, but sometimes. Safon through 5 says, hell yeah, geriatric on the dance floor, dancing that mad swing on the stage. Mike the Nike through 1 says, that's what I meant. If she's busty, chances are she's of age, going 90, go for someone, I don't know. I know what you're saying though. Going 90 plus works. 90 plus works too. Also, never trust people without eyebrows, i.e. Jeffree. Jim the Grapple through 5 says, by the way, isn't incest illegal? Why didn't Jeffree report the literal crime if he just acted like it was confirmed? Yeah, I mean, to my knowledge, I'm pretty sure incest is an illegal action. But of course, if they're all overage, it's fine, right? I don't know. Somebody's gonna have to look into that one. Creepshow Art through 10 says, Bowblax literally knows what I'm typing at this point. All right, let's dive back into this.
Now lives with his mom.
FaZe winks to incest.
When he's trying to meet up with 16-year-olds once Corona's over. Joke. Great, so do a sting operation, get proof, and put him in prison. But I don't have any proof or anything to show law enforcement, and I think that people thought I did, and they're upset. And I mean, you saw it, Keem. They're going in hard.
Oh yeah,
and this is happening currently right now, and he hasn't been convicted of anything.
No, he's currently free and allegedly still talking to minors. So it's like, that's so horrifying. And what's crazy is, Keem, you know this now. I've been accused of, you worked with him again for financials, which is so absurd. You guys know, how expensive it is for a tour bus and to print merch. Yeah. I wish I made a lot of money back then. I was in full debt. So what I said yesterday upset a lot of people, but these drama channels are really profiting off of this.
Yeah.
Where they're not really using his name. They're using my name. They're dragging up all these things. Here's Jeffree with a drunk guy in the bathroom from an old MySpace video.
Talking about Jeffree Star and bringing up Davy Vandy as an example to talk about Jeffree Star. The video isn't about Davy Vandy, it's about Jeffree Star, so that's why you're in the title. He's not understanding this again.
And again, it doesn't matter like what people's intentions are. Intention doesn't change the argument. A broken clock is right twice a day. Shitty people, if they're saying the truth, they're still saying the truth. It doesn't change. I'm not saying anyone's covering this as shitty. Much to the contrary, actually. I have no issue with people talking about serious subjects and monetizing it because it is work at the end of the day and you're allowed to get paid for your work no matter what. But even if, because that's how he's going to win this one. He's going to demean everyone who's calling him out and, hurt their character. Okay, well, even if you succeed at hurting their character, it doesn't change shit. Doesn't change shit.
Mm-hmm.
What does that have to do with the man currently trying to lure in minors? I need some clarity, please.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Nice cut. I don't know.
They still talk about this, right? Because this is the part where
they continue talking about it. It's just weird that there was
This is a good interview so far, I will say.
You can also make the argument that they're using your name to bring more light to this pedophile, as you say. So by using your name, it can be constituted as a good thing because otherwise this story would just not get covered and wouldn't be picked up by certain people.
Look, I fully agree with you, but their whole context is Jeffree Star, and that's it. They're really not focusing on what's currently happening, what he's done in the past. It's more, they're just really focusing on.
Yeah, I have to agree with Jeffree.
And it's bizarre to me.
Probably not in every case, though, right?
No, I've seen a lot of videos on this because I had to educate myself before this podcast, right? So I've seen a lot of videos on it, and they are a lot of them it seems like they're trying to send a lot of hate to Jeffree, which the focus should be on this other guy. Like, it really should be. But, you know, it is what it is, you know. The algorithm, you know, YouTube, people need those views.
They do, and they need to pay their rent, but they're not donating any of the money to the victims, to any lawyers to help them. They're pocketing it.
Doesn't matter. They don't have to. Sorry, that's the truth. When I cover
his main argument,
when I cover a story, you know, involving, like, if I write for my local newspaper, cat stuck in a tree, local citizen Bob saved it or something, I don't need to donate the money to Bob. I get to keep that. That's my work. You don't need to work. Obviously, that's much a lighthearted example, right? But my point is like, it doesn't matter if you cover a story, no matter how serious it is. You don't have to, you know, share whatever revenue you made to the person.
About the money topic, it's weird because even if I don't think it, you already established that if it was for money or not, it doesn't matter. But honestly, like, if it was for money, wouldn't these people be talking about a drama that's like easier to cover, that involves less research, that's maybe popping off more? Like, I don't know, these people could be talking about Katarina, that's more of a cash cow than Jeffree, you know,
topics
Star,
that are maybe even topics that are a little more ad friendly. I mean, I'm sure YouTube is
that too.
Terribly down with the topic of, you know, pedophilia, rape, sexual assault. I'm sure these are very ad friendly topics, by the way. Totally.
At all,
best
and
way to
that's
get
what
rich,
they're mad about.
Jeffree Star, you know.
If you want to get rich, you talk about Fortnite.
Yeah.
Or whatever's trending. You know what I mean, right? Like, you know. I mean, you can't make a lot of money from this. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is, like, if you're solely in it for the money or whatever, there's easier and faster ways to do so. All my videos are demonetized? Yeah, same. I mean, I don't give a fuck about... I'm a streamer. So I make all my money from revenue anyway. So I guess his argument is going to be, oh, well, look at these super chats. You got to send them over to the victims. No, that's not how it works. You don't have to. You can if you want. It would be nice if you did, but you don't have to. Nobody's obligated to submit their fundings to a charity or to a victim even. I mean, people don't want to talk about it because it gets a little grimy. Like, well, why wouldn't you give them money? You know, because a lot of people who aren't YouTubers, you know, just audience members, they'll be like, well, he brings up a good point. You should send all your money. Why? I mean, when you say that, it sounds like you don't care, right? And that's how they win. That's how they try to win. You don't care about the victims. You just want money. Or you just want a trending story in your channel. Or you just want views or subscribers or to cater to the algorithm. I mean, it's nice. One can look at those things and enjoy the money or the subscribers that they're getting, but also care about the victims. Or maybe they solely care just about the views and subs, and that makes them a shitty person. But hey, that doesn't devalue anything they say. So, I don't know, man. I want to make that abundantly clear because I saw people, they did this with Onision too. You think Hanson, and I know Hanson gets a bad rap now, but back when Hanson was just worshipped by this whole community, do you think Hanson was sitting there, you know, really just, you know, thinking about the victims all the time? He's thinking about money. He's trying to pay over those bills,
Wait,
that
you
debt.
mean all his super chats weren't going to the victims?
No!
Wow.
No, he's pocketing that. Why do you think he jumped into this whole business anyway? It's obvious.
Wow, I can't believe Jeffree Star would talk to a money-hungry drama
like the
channel
people
like
that think like these YouTubers that jump into the story, like they're also now profiting themselves. It's just a childish mentality to have. What? You mean my favorite YouTuber? You know, they're not, you know, completely selfless and they don't collect a profit from this? What? Of course. Come on now, you gotta think about this, how this works. It is a business at the end of the day. A small business, but it is one. Mm-hmm. I look at YouTube as a job. It's a part-time job for me. But it is a job. That's what I'm doing right now. This is my gig, one of them. So, there you go. I don't know how else to put it. Abyss Walker Rather 2 says, FaZe Monk needs to sit in the corner. Yeah, he needs to sit in the corner and watch. Jim the Grapple through 2 says, hashtag FaZe cranks to ends. Aww. It's a joke. Mike the Bike through 2 says, Clown needs a one-on-one. Well, I mean, we saw that one-on-one with his interview with Lion Maker. I don't know, man. Maybe that should happen over here with the... If Clown's doing a one-on-one, I want to see it with the Davi person instead, rather than with Jeffree. Because I think after this, the Jeffree story is really going to be hammered. I really don't see, unless there's more stuff that comes out. I think this is, he's talked about it. People called it out. How does this continue? I think Jeffree's kind of done after this. If Clown was going to do a one-on-one, I'd like to see him do a one-on-one with the Davi Vanity. So. Creepshow Arthur 20, very generous tonight. Thank you very much. You are obligated to send this to someone else. Well, it ain't going to Bowblax.
Fuck.
Ibis Walker Arthur 2 says Hanson is using the money to get trophy polish. Yeah, to show off that Emmy to Dick Masterson. Look at my Emmy.
That I'm mentioning.
By the way, 300 people watching. Be sure to hit the like button. Helps us out a lot.
Yesterday, Banks, I did an interview with Chris Hansen. This guy's been doing this for a long time. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, you know what? Let me answer some questions that people have. And, people that
Is that live? Is that on the internet right now?
Yeah.
Wow.
So the fact that if you already don't like me, you didn't like what I had to say, and you're mad about it. So that's what's happening.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
So would you say you're a victim of guilty by association in this scenario? Would you say that's an accurate and fair statement?
Guilty of what? In what sense?
Guilty by association. So drama channels are making videos primarily targeting you rather than this other guy, but they're calling you out. So you're effectively guilty by association. Your association,
100%.
Prior association with this man. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it would be the same thing. Whenever Banks has a controversy, people for some reason hate on me. They're like, yeah.
I mean, come on. Can I?
I mean, it's happened to all of us. It's the world we live in. It's unfortunate.
I'm gonna throw us all under the bus. So me and whenever Trisha gets into drama, people want to throw me and Shane under the bus.
What'd you say?
It's the world we live in. We're all human at the end of the day.
That's all Banks. Well,
you can notice it after a while. He always says stuff like this.
Yeah.
It's society.
It's like you want me to cancel.
We live in a society.
Yeah.
Is it gonna play? Did Keem strike this?
Own friend and make her feel even worse.
I was gonna say.
Just because you don't like what she's going through right now mentally. It's a bizarre world we live in. Hey, you're already suffering with mental health. Let me make you feel worse.
Yeah.
No, that's not what you do to people.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
So,
and again, to an extent, we all play a certain character on the internet, and we're all an exaggerated, inflated version of ourselves. And behind the scenes, Keem, we've been through this a million times. You're my fucking boy. Don't care what people have to say about you. And that's how it's going to be.
That.
You know what I mean?
Likewise.
Yeah, exactly.
Keem, can we clear the air about some other rumors?
Oh yeah. I have one more.
I have a list, baby. So I have a fucking list, baby. Chris Hansen didn't have time for the motherfucking list.
Let's go.
So
we have time.
Here's a throwback. Okay, let's talk about it. Hunter Moore, the inventor of Is Anyone Up, the revenge porn site.
I remember that guy.
You guys, I used to tweet. Yes. So
Is he in jail? Right? Didn't he get super wrapped up?
He didn't get enough jail time, and I know he's watching this because he's so narcissistic and a sociopath. He'll be probably replaying my voice over and over.
So you guys have beef, serious beef.
Yeah. For those of you guys that don't know, Hunter Moore had this website that was all around revenge porn. It was really effed up, right? And so he went to jail for that. Yeah.
So he went to federal prison for these crimes. He probably, maybe from good behavior for the first time ever, he got out early, which is so sad. But Facebook has banned him from ever allowing to have an account under any name. And he is a convicted criminal. Now, here's the problem. Jeffree Star back in the day used to tweet and lie about a bunch of shit. Not just about Jack Daniels. I also tweeted about allegedly sending band guys' nudes to him to then use for revenge, which I never did, but I did lie about it 100%. I used to say things all the time like that. So he made a tab on his website of Jeffree Star and what straight men I have hooked up with, and he put up rappers that people had insinuated. Half were true. Half were lie. All the band guys at Warped Tour that I was hooking up with, and there was no other really person like me back then, and I was the only guy in makeup, and it was just a different time. So I was very offensive, and I told them a few names, and some of them were true, some of them were not. So now people are trying to say,
somebody in the chat points out, admits to being a consistent liar. So we're supposed, yeah, that's a good point. So we're supposed to listen, right? Look, here's the truth. from somebody who lies a lot.
Also, I'd like to point out that in his video last year when he said he was done with the drama that he made on his channel, he said, "I'm honest, I never lie with you guys." He said
He never lies now. He used to. But now
I used to be a liar, but now I'm super honest and down to earth.
Got it. Okay.
Even though I made an allegation that, may or may not be true last year, or whatever it is. I'm honest.
Yeah, okay.
You can believe me, James Charles is a predator, but also,
See, I don't know why he'd talk about this on the podcast that he's trying to, like, defend himself on, you know what I mean? Like, actually, well, I do see the strategy here, now I think about it. What he's doing is he's showing, like, see, I've said a lot of crazy shit in the past, so the crazy shit I said about Jeffree is really no different than other stuff I would tweet. I guess that's what he's going for. So...
I guess, but he just lied about Jeffree Star or James Charles last year.
Yeah.
So, if he didn't do that, I feel like he would have a much, much better case. But considering that this behavior is literally like the same behavior happened a year ago, yeah, I don't know.
Jim the Grapple through 10 says, why does Banks have to consistently remind the audience how much he's homies with people and who's just a straight up 10 out of 10 person? Dude, everyone's great. This guy...
Exactly. He always says this shit, dude.
This
Everyone's
guy
a 10 out of
lives...
10 person unless they don't have enough money.
He's connected with the whole LA circle, and he's like, yeah, all these people are 10 out of 10 people. Press the next out.
Yeah. Also, I'm pretty sure, FaZe Banks, sometime in the podcast, I think it was during like the beginning phase when they weren't really getting into the drama, he said, "Oh, I'm a really good judge of character." Then later he says, "Yeah, I thought Romeo Cost was the homie. I thought he was a 10 out of 10 person. Then he turned out to be a pedo." Dude, okay, so you're great.
Did we get to the part already? I forgot if we played the part where he says, "I think I got a really good judge of character." Did we play that part? Or is that coming up?
No, we didn't, but I think it was like in the first 15 minutes.
Okay, so I spoiled it, but that's okay. I spoiled it, but that's okay. So later on, I think it's just like a minute from now or whatever, like in a different conversation, FaZe Banks is like, I really thought I had a good judge of character or whatever, but as he's telling us who are these amazing, great people, it's just... Yeah,
he says he does have a good judge of character, and then later on he says that he thought Romeo Lacoste was a great guy.
Romeo Lacoste was like a great person until we found out that he was, doing shit with kids or whatever. I wonder what a slip, what a mistake. Banks, it's okay. Maybe you just don't, you're too busy, I'm not gonna say it. You know what I'm implying. You're too busy, climbing your way to the top. You're kind of blind to it at this point, but it's okay. You can admit that.
That I supported revenge porn and supplied this man with photos, which is so ridiculous. He went to jail. If my tweets were ever real or the FBI thought they were, I would have been questioned and I'd be in jail too. I never did. But he wrote a book, because of course, what do you do after jail? You're broke and have nothing and you're a criminal. Right. He wrote a fan fiction, basically book, saying that when we first met, this is literally like 2005, that what really happened was, Keem, is we were acquaintances in the music scene. He was friends with a band called the Millionaires, the Asian girls from MySpace, and he was stranded on the side of the road from some dumb girl that left him on the side of the road, and I graciously picked him up in my 91 Nissan Sentra.
Hell yeah.
And he was at my apartment for one night with my best friend Michael, and he made up a whole crazy story that we tried to have sex with him, we had a butcher knife and all these weird things that clearly never happened. So it's someone once again taking Jeffree being nice into this crazy weird story to profit off of, and the book is full of so many lies about so many people I know, and no one ever took it serious. But if you're only into makeup drama, or me and Shane, you're gonna never know what any of this shit is. So this is all new, it's gross, it's exciting, it's so you see what's happening.
Well, what I want to know,
I'd never sent nude photos to this man to use.
What I want to know is, what rapper did you hook up with?
You stop it right now. Listen, I'm gonna be honest. Wait, my DMs.
Hell wait. I'm with that.
I'll show Banks who Snapchatted me last night, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I love this shit. I love that.
I'm gonna show you one that you must.
Okay. He's gonna
don't
show
answer
me.
that question.
He used to carry butcher knives in his purse. He would brag about it. What the hell? Do they talk about Are you here, Bowblax?
Yeah,
you are. Okay. Do they still keep talking about the Davi stuff, or is this just kind of other shit?
They transition into James Charles stuff.
Oh, I want to hear about that. Okay, cool, dope.
I'm on the don't answer that question on Mom's Basement on the recording, but please tell me a rap song. Just the first thing that comes to your head, like a song that.
What? Keith loves drama.
It's like a fucking Rorschach test.
Just a rap song. First thing that comes to your head.
Yeah, but 6 months ago, when I pretended I was gonna tell, this man was like, "I'm gonna
bow down,
hire someone to fucking kill you," and I was like, "That's
Jesus
so hot."
Christ.
I loved it. I was like, "I'll see you Thursday."
You're a sicko. I love it.
But yeah, it's been leaked banks that a few NBA players were DMing me, and I'm never gonna say who. I'm never gonna do that to someone and ruin their life, so everyone can have a fucking laugh and make news stories and embarrass them. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Not you guys. Just fuck off to everyone else.
It's fun to be in the loop.
Jeffree, bit of a harder question. Do you find it interesting, like in terms of coincidence, that you've been in contact with so many of these depraved criminals over the years, like the one you just mentioned? And there's another one called Ian Watkins. He's now a convicted pedophile serving time in prison.
Let's talk about it.
What are with all these fucking coincidences and like?
I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence. I think when the music scene was full of hundreds and thousands of people, there's gonna be people that do fucked up shit. And Hunter later went on to do a lot of horrible things. You know what I mean? And I really met him, you guys, maybe 3 times. So when people want to say, these were your best friends, no, I tweeted a bunch of offensive shit to them. It was funny back in the day. It stirred up a lot of stuff. And this person, Ian, I've never met in person. We tweeted some funny things together. He flirted with me, but Banks, this person went to jail for child porn. Like really dark stuff.
But he's literally in prison right now.
But just like, the homies that, they just go to jail for child porn.
Romeo.
Yeah.
They also...
The bro accidentally got caught.
How many convicted pedophiles do you know, Bowblax? Not that many? Convicted or current?
Not that many. I'll say not that many.
Really? I don't know anyone. I guess we're just not living it right.
I do know a pedophile, but I'm not friends.
Oh, God. Wait. You should clarify. Not like amicably.
I'm not friends with him anymore, no.
Oh, God.
Once I found out, obviously. But
holy shit.
Flirted with me when I was of age and an adult, so it's bizarre to me. Ian used to flirt with me. We never met, but yeah, he is in prison and hopefully he'll be there forever.
I mean,
it's just bizarre that you've had so much contact with these people. There's so many examples of them.
Listen,
I mean, that's just...
But
we're talking about...
Clown, you got to understand the energy...
Is he attracted to that type of person, or what
real quick though, Clown, you got to understand the entertainment biz is filled with weirdos, right?
100%.
It's usually...
They seem fucking everywhere.
Well, yeah, because the extreme...
Wait, Banks, I thought the entertainment business was filled with 100% human beings, 10 out of 10 guys. What?
Dude, I just love this, right? Like, it's. I mean, he's not. When Keem says, it's entertainment is full of weird, he's not wrong. But this always reminds me of Alex, because that's just in my head. Because I was like semi-involved in that. That's just my default, canvas for sexual assault allegations and fake sexual assault allegations or whatever. It's just like, well, I've known in the commentary community dozens of horrible sexual abusers or whatever. So, but he's not wrong when he says, I don't want to take that away. I believe it. 99volt through 2 SGD says, the more FaZe Banks says, the more I want to die. Well, he's peaked in this episode. Him saying, as long as, the mother and her, her twin daughters are overage, they can have sex.
Oh, there's an infuriating cock block that happens a little later. I mean...
Oh, really? Because in my opinion, he's already peaked. So... It can't get better than that one.
Weird people, right, that are into some fucked up shit are the most interesting people, and that's how they rise to the top of the entertainment biz.
Yeah, and Clown,
well, that's why I'm doing a podcast with you, Keith.
Well, it's the truth.
No, but Clown, I get what you're saying. I just had never known Ian was obviously into any of that, and he was just a guy with tattoos that I thought was attractive, like hundreds of other guys.
I think it's really unfair to make that, to link that, I mean, using myself as an example, I would have considered...
Coincidence keep propping up here and there. I mean, you've got to point it out.
Listen, I would have considered Romeo to be like a good friend. And you've been in the spotlight, in a way bigger spotlight than I've ever been in, for a very long time.
Yeah.
And you're going to cross paths with certain people. And when you're the biggest name attached to somebody, you're going to be dragged into these conversations, and it's going to be highlighted constantly. So I don't think it's necessarily a coincidence. Like, I've passed by and probably had some sort of interaction or some sort of connection with a handful of fucking sick weirdos.
And we'll never know.
And I won't know. Some of them I will, some of them I won't. But at the end of the day, like, unless I took part or knew something that I should have, you know what I mean, reported or been more responsible about, then what the fuck did I do wrong? I don't think it's fair to, I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily a coincidence. You were a rock star on MySpace. Like, we're talking about 2005. Like, that's fucking insane. Before I ever even thought this could happen.
Maybe we just all underestimate how many fucking freaks there are.
No, as a matter of fact, I've been on this kick. I've been watching these like predator poacher videos, all these like Chris Hansen wannabes pulling up on people on like YouTube
crazy.
live stream, and it's fucking wild. I saw one from a dude in my hometown city, and that's what. Then I went on this kick. These guys are catching people every fucking day.
Chris Hansen teamed up with someone that does that for a living, and it's amazing. And
there was just this thing on WorldStar, the chief of police for like Lexington, Mass or whatever. He caught him. This like random YouTuber dude with 10,000 subscribers.
It's disgusting.
And they catch these people fucking constantly, and it's like scary.
I wish that you could legally hunt them like Dexter, but until that has passed. I don't. I would love to fund that. So
it's obvious.
And yes, Jeffree Star is going on record that he would love to fund a kill spree for pedophiles. You're welcome.
I think
hot takes on the Mom's Basement podcast. Mike the Bike Through One says, my childhood friend went to jail for being a pedo. Hope he rots in jail. Yeah. That was kind of like, I meant to ask the question, like, how many do you know? Like, yeah, I know like a dozen, pedophiles or whatever. It just happens.
But then I actually had an answer.
Yeah, I forgot about that one. You told me that story too. All right, this podcast is losing me. I want to get back to, should we find the James Charles bit?
Yeah, just go ahead a bit.
Is there anything I should keep listening to?
Just go into the transcript and type James.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, is there anything between this?
There's
no.
Okay. I think the last thing that was kind of interesting is him saying Romeo Lacoste was a good guy, or I thought Romeo Lacoste was a good guy after saying he was a good judge character.
That's a good one. Fawn through 5 says they catch so many of them, it's crazy, yet they still botch the Onision thing. Well.
Oh yeah, and didn't Chris Hansen on his podcast with Jeffree Star say that he botched the Epstein case? Yeah, he had him. He could have got him years ago.
Oh God, we should. It's not long. It's just a little clip or whatever. I don't have it on me. I kind of want to play it. Maybe after this one. Yeah, maybe after this one. I'm surprised we're probably gonna get 2 hours out of this show. I literally. I'm not even joking with you guys. I did like zero prep for this show today, just because I was too busy to prepare. So I'm actually glad that we were able to talk, and I think this is important shit to talk about. Anyway, James Charles.
Was like kind of a group of us, which I believe you 100%. But there's this other situation that happened recently with James Charles, where when that whole thing went down, like you put out some tweets saying that there's a reason why my boyfriend
Banks like, oh God, don't talk about it, King.
Oh no,
isn't letting James come over to our house anymore. I'm not going to talk to him. Haven't seen him since Toddy's birthday.
I'm glad he brought this up.
He's a danger to society. And then you had a follow-up tweet where it was like basically saying, everyone keeps asking me for receipts. I have much to say. What's going on with that? Like,
what was the ending of all that? Like, where did that all end up?
I'll tell you. Okay, go ahead. I'll tell you the ending.
Is James one thing real quick? Is James Charles a danger to society? Is he a predator?
Kim, listen.
That was a long pause, long ass fucking.
Yeah, that's such a simple question too. It's either yes or no.
Oh no!
It's so simple.
Oh no! What was that response though, Kim? You can't ask that. What you doing, buddy?
Pause that.
I have to ask this.
Listen, there's a long pause because
Now wait a minute.
it's a very complicated situation. So before I answer,
Let me
the
get my
ending
boulders
banks was
real
me,
I gotta go walk the dog. Sorry. No.
James, and Tati, all making peace so the internet can go back to being the internet, because it was getting so ugly and dark. But
It got crazy.
yeah, so
I hopped in a
yeah,
little
so
bit.
people do want to put together the parallels of this 10-year situation and me saying this stuff about James. It's a very complicated question. And why?
I know, but like it's the same scenario though, because like if James is actually a danger, right? Then this is the opportunity, like the Darby thing, where you can say something. You know what I mean? Or is like maybe you shouldn't have put that tweet out. Like which one is it? Like I'm sorry, Jeffree, but I have to ask.
No, I'm 100% comfortable with that. It's going to upset a lot of people, but the truth is that someone, and right now I legally can't say who, told us a few things. And we trusted that person's opinion. And then another person said some things that was friends with that man. And it really convinced us that he was a predator.
Is this another case of what happened before with the other guy?
No, this is some...
Is there a possibility of that? Because, I mean, they were telling you about this guy, which turned out to...
This is bad for Jeffree. Holy shit. Why is this
Clown and
complicated?
Keem are doing a good job.
What's the complication here? Hold on now.
The complication is he doesn't have a legit answer.
Yeah. What's so difficult about it? Why can't you just answer that straightforward? What do you mean? So you're telling us on this show that, again, people came to me, they gave me all these horror stories and these allegations, and I just, ate that shit up and just went with it. Again, calling him a predator, a criminal allegation.
Yeah, and he had a situation like that about 10 years ago, and he said, "Oh, I moved past it. I don't do that shit anymore."
Well, exactly.
Oh wait, I just did it last year.
He
Oops.
learned his mistake 10 years ago. This is not like, a mistake he'd made in the same year prior and then he made it again. He had life experience that told him, okay, maybe calm the brakes. Now, with this Davi stuff, it seems like there's a little bit more to this, than just, speculations or whatever. It seems like there's some other stuff going on there. But here's what he had said. He heard things about Davi, and then a year later, he thought that it was bullshit. There was no proof, so he was back to working with Davi. And now that he's heard more concrete stuff about Davi, now he's distance again. But the point is, he had heard bad shit about somebody, went with it without thinking. Then he had realized he had made a mistake in that moment. But now he's doing the same thing again with James after 10 years. This just... I don't even...
Also the question itself is just so simple. It's like, do you think James Charles is a predator legitimately in your mind right now? Yes or no? And then he talks about like, oh, what other people said and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no. Do you, based on everything you know, do you think James Charles is a predator? Yes or no? And he was never able to answer the question.
To praise James after his accusation.
This is strange. This is very, very, very strange. Creepshow through another 20. Thank you very much. He also went on to praise James after his accusations, meaning he's platforming with somebody he thinks is a predator. Well, you see, it's complicated. Come on now.
yeah, he did the exact same thing. I mean, he's not working directly again with James, but he's complimenting him, which is pretty similar. And later in this podcast, he said he would work with...
Nice.
I don't think he directly says that, but I think he says that James needs to forgive him or something like that.
99Volt2 says, now wait a minute, Jeffree. No! Now wait a minute. Cynthia Burrito in chat says that RFC also said he trusted this person's opinion, not a story. I don't think a person's life experience is an opinion. Yeah. I don't know. If somebody I trusted came to me with an opinion that Bowblax was a predator, I need a little bit more. I gotta be real with you. It doesn't really matter. I'm gonna need to see some actual shit that adds up. That's not just, well, Well, I don't know.
You wouldn't go on Twitter and say I'm a disgusting piece of shit.
Well, look, here's the deal. Like, if somebody I trusted came to me, realistically, I'd be concerned. I'd be like, that's weird, because I trust you but I wouldn't immediately go the other side and just be like, okay, I'll just take all your word for it. I would be confused because if somebody I trust is telling me information as concrete as that, I'd be like, whoa, what's going on here? But I also wouldn't be like, okay, well, Bowblax is I need to see. It doesn't matter who.
You'd look into it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Exactly. I think that's pretty straightforward. I don't really see how this is. It's not like this is rocket science over here. I don't know. Anyway, let's keep listening.
Be true now. Is this
whoa. Spooky Weeb Trash says Bowblax grew me as a child. Alright, get off my show, you fucking predator! Alright. We're doing this show solo now. I can't be working with predators now. That's no go.
Possible with James?
I can't believe you'd make false allegations like that.
Well, you know what?
You have the white wall ready, have the camera.
Bowblax, listen, I gotta apologize to you, man. I listened to other people. I haven't seen evidence, so you're back on the team, man. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
What I remember with all the drama, you didn't actually ever say flat out like you saw it. Like, it was always in the proper context of like, listen, like, I'm speaking about this from kind of the view of like the circle of people that we've been discussing this with, kind of sort of thing. Like, I don't think it's similar in the sense that you flat out said, I saw some shit. You know what I mean?
Similar enough. I'm sorry. It's similar enough.
I'm lost. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's similar, but it's...
Dude. He's like, yeah, I'm lost. I don't know any of this.
He's too dumb. Augie believes all women? Of course.
It's people that are in our community that are saying things, and I don't know if they're true or not.
But this is exactly the same thing that happened before, right?
It's actually not.
What?
So if you want, we can pause, and I can go in another room and play Banks what I have on my phone, and he can determine if he would have sent the same tweet. At the end of the day, I'm not going to out a victim of James Charles.
Okay.
Yeah, we
it's real, because I don't know if it's real, and I'll go.
Jeffree Star's just like, yeah, it's not the same, without like even explaining why it is.
That sinister.
Like,
I'm not gonna out a victim. He refers to him as a victim.
Didn't you out the victim that said you were in the room when Davi kissed them?
Well, yeah, that's also another point. Yeah,
I would never out a victim. Oh, unless they're saying something bad about me, then I know.
Well, yeah, and also like the phraseology of that victim. He doesn't say like
not a survivor. Wait, they're not survivors?
No. He doesn't. Wouldn't it make more sense to say accuser, or because he's implying he doesn't believe them. He says victim, as if like he believes that they went through some shit with James, but he's not gonna.
Yeah, so he's implying that he believes it. I don't know. He could have just been saying like.
Yeah, maybe I'm looking too into the words or whatever.
Yeah, that's looking a little too into
I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm just thinking about that. I'm just like, let me run that over again.
Go in the other room and play it for
subjects to the
it's
subject
so
that we've been
because everyone wants to make me you ruined James Charles' career. No, Tati did and uploaded a 40-minute video about him, and she should have never uploaded that.
Yeah, that's why.
But she did, and for some reason, James thinks that me and Shane tried to ruin his life and orchestrated the whole thing. Like we fucking care. You know Shane longer than me, Keem. You think we care to drag or ruin someone? For what? We're our own superstars. We're our own lane. We're doing our own thing together, and we've made so much magic. Why would we want to ever bring someone down? We don't.
Magic there. I think you misspoke.
Well, fuck.
There's a couple things that happen publicly, right? Like so. Toddy uploads the video and Shane Dawson immediately is like supporting Toddy, buying her vitamins.
The vitamins, the fucking vitamin. That's where I hopped in. Like, let me just quickly say, like, I still would love to know, and I'm going to ask you off the air. I would love to know how many vitamins she sold. I would love to know. It's crazy.
Yeah, and Shane helped her sell a lot of those vitamins.
Crazy. It's fucking crazy.
But it really seemed like it was the three of you versus James, right? And then James defended himself, and then it seemed like you and Shane were still tight, but it doesn't seem like, you guys are still tight with Toddy, right? So what happened?
I mean, look, I don't think we should be fake at all. We are currently not friends with Tati. Are we enemies? No, but we are not friends
What
anymore.
happened? If I can ask
I mean, I think that she really thought... But see, here's the thing, King. You have to remember.
Why would you be friends with her?
Let me back that up a second there.
Currently not friends with Tati. Are we enemies? No, but we are not friends
What
anymore.
happened? If I can ask
I
that.
mean, I think that she really thought, but see, here's the thing, Keem. You have to remember that everyone unfollowed James. Not just about my tweet. You think half of those celebrities, Kylie, all those people unfollowed him. It was like, wow, like we all finally can. And it was so dark and it was very, it was insane. And everyone hopped.
It was actually fucking.
Wait, what's that you're saying?
Banks asked him a question, and then he pretends to answer it by talking about something completely different.
Yeah.
Everyone.
It was insane.
So it wasn't.
Alyssa at the time unfollowed him just because she felt like she had to.
So it wasn't me, Shane, and Tati against this person. Shane didn't
Jeffree
ever
Star
really.
and someone like Alyssa and all these other celebrities is that they unfollowed. They didn't call him a fucking predator, disgusting piece of shit.
I'm losing interest again. I want to hear the answer to the question.
Say anything. Yeah, I tweeted out a few things, and it was Tati's 40-minute video, but I get it. I'm more interesting. She's safe. And I think in some sick way, James thinks that me and Shane were behind it.
Well, the reason why I link you two to it is because, okay, Shane was coming out with this documentary on the beauty community, right? Which I was really excited about, right? And all this James Charles, Tati stuff was totally going to be involved. And then it morphed in to your guys' collaboration on your makeup. So, like, what happens? There had to have been a falling out behind the scenes that stopped that documentary from happening the way it was originally supposed to be, you know?
See, I wish it was juicier than that, but me and Shane really from the get-go wanted to show the business side about how to really create makeup. And I think that his trailer really insinuated that there was going to be a lot more drama.
Yeah.
And when the people behind the scenes who, you know, we were working with, a lot of them didn't want to say things because it's all, no one's really going on the record.
The politics and stuff, yeah.
And people were very afraid, and we couldn't get enough. And people kept saying, we want more business. And that was always my goal, because no one really knows what I do all day. No one knows how to create a palette from scratch and how much money it can make and the magic behind makeup. So that was my number one goal. I used to love drama. I don't care anymore, and I never wanted it to be.
Why don't you like drama anymore? Why not?
I wonder why.
What changed?
You suddenly don't like drama when it's against you. Damn.
That, like, it wasn't a soap opera, you know? And I just think that Tati, I mean, she took a really big hit, right? I mean, I don't know if she's still in the red, but it's a different vibe, right?
For sure. Like, that's just like, for a lot of people, especially like the mainstream, you know, YouTube consumer, like that's who she is.
Exactly.
And that's kind of forever who she'll be, is that woman who canceled James Charles.
I mean, at the end of the day, like, PewDiePie was the first one to.
It was Shane crying on the floor about money. It isn't a documentary.
Who said that?
Emma Wood.
Yeah, it's true though. Okay, is there anything else juicier here, or
it gets more juicy.
All right. Let's play. By the way, Tati said this is her social blade right here. Let me throw this up. After a year from the controversy, still bleeding out. Uh-oh. She's got a lot of subs to lose too. Rip.
It's still a net gain by far. She gained 5 million subs off the.
She gained viewership though. I heard she was bitching about her low viewership recently. Actually, you're the one who covered that.
Viewership. I have no idea, but I know like during like the 1 week or half a week time where people were on Tati's side 100%, she got a lot of money from the vitamins.
So. Mike through 2 says, I swear if no one asks why he said he had receipts, that's what I'm hoping for. I'm kind of like, I'm like drifting from this right now. I'm like, you know, maybe it'll get better.
Like, come out and be like, hey man, like, there's no proof that James is doing this. And then I came out in drama and I was like, yeah guys, we got to stop the canceling of James Charles, because there's really no proof to back it up that he is an actual predator. And there is still to this day no proof in the public that he is an actual predator. So I mean,
but that's probably why. I mean, there is obviously a reason why you, James, Shane sat down, talked, decided to move move on from this.
Yes.
I think a lot of people, pretty much everybody in the situation probably looked back and said, this probably shouldn't have been.
Yeah, it's been a year, literally in like a few weeks, and it's been a year. And I know people just want to keep going. They want to create a feud against me and James. There's no feud. I know everyone wants to create one over and over. There's no competition. I've been doing this for a very long time.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Stop, Keith, you cannot
Jeffree,
try.
Come on.
He loves it.
But can I just get this right? You do have a testimony from an alleged victim in your possession. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he does. That's what he said. Right. But listen, Jeffree, look,
my lawyer.
I'm telling you.
That was quiet.
I'm telling you right now, Jeffree.
That he did not want to talk. He wanted to talk for as minimal about the topic as possible here. That's why I kept changing the subject and dancing around it. Yeah, okay.
Jeffree, like there's other people that do shows similar to mine, and like I want to beat them. You don't become a billionaire if you don't have competitive nature about you. There is.
I have competitive nature. I love it. Like I love business. I love watching people's numbers. But like his fans really try to create always an animosity. Like I've been doing this for so long. And I'm really in my own lane. Yeah, we're boys in beauty, but I'm a fucking icon, Keem.
It's really
and they can try to pit us against each other. He gained more than you on you. I don't fucking care if you gain more on YouTube. That to me, it isn't a numbers game because I already won. And I know that people may say financially that they may not be winning, but to me, I won.
That's all that matters.
And I've accomplished everything I've wanted to accomplish thus far. I now have 10 more goals. Now I want to be a New York Times bestselling author. I'm currently writing an autobiography, but no.
Oh, nice.
And it's really, really, really dark and inspiring and great. And there's things that I've never talked about ever. That are.
Oh boy, I can only imagine you got chapters on chapters to write.
Oh damn, a book all about gay sex. Can't wait to read that.
Dude, I'll be the first in line.
Dude. Really hyped for that book.
Well, I mean, there's, you could write an interesting book, right? On the biography of Jeffree Star, given all the predators that have been around. You could write stories, good old campfire stories, dude. Gather around, everyone. Gather around, little kids. Let me tell you the stories of the 25. All right. I think we'll leave it there. What do you say? We'll leave it for the rest of the show.
I guess.
Actually, I was gonna link this, but this is a the link's in the description.
Yeah, they can watch it on
right at the top of the description. You can go watch the whole thing for yourself.
By Keem. Augie bowed down to him. Started licking the boots of Drama Alert.
Yeah, because I don't want to get striked. I don't want to get banned. All right, I think it's easy to justify that one.
But yeah, I know later in the podcast, Clown asks like a really good question, like the best question of the podcast, and FaZe Banks literally cucks the shit out of it.
Well, you know what? You want to go watch that for yourself. I don't want to take away from the viewership. I think we were transformed.
Oh, we watched pretty much the whole thing.
Yeah. If you want to go see the best part, you can go over and support, the guys that are doing their podcast or whatever. Go ahead and watch that for yourself. One thing I do want to show before we get out of here.
You're just tired of hearing about all the gay shit, then.
Yeah, dude, it's my inner bigotry is coming out. Yeah. I was suppressing it for 2 hours. It's 2 hours too long. Oh my god. Anyway, okay. I wanted to show you guys this one clip that we talked about earlier from Hanson, then we'll get out of here. Where he talks about the Epstein story, ironically enough. And then we'll bounce. Let's see, Epstein. This one right here.
I was on the Epstein case years ago, and what we tried to do, and I've told this story before, was to fashion a sting operation to catch him in the act, a la the Predator investigations. We overthought it. We made it too complicated. We couldn't penetrate his security. But in the meantime, the Miami Herald, to their credit, kept on this story and day to day and got very brave victims to come forward and use their identities and use their faces. And that is basically what allowed the Southern District of New York U.S. Attorney to make this case. And the U.S. Attorney in the Southern District will actually say that. So my theory on this is by hearing the voice of the victims, getting inside the mind of the predator criminal, as we are doing here today.
Yeah.
Other people had to pick up the slack for Chris.
So the reason why he cites Epstein's story too, when he's like, we're gonna get Onision in jail. It took Epstein 10 years or whatever. Wonder why.
Yeah, wonder why it took 10 years. Maybe if
I'm
it
joking.
wasn't.
Yeah, I don't think Chris Hansen was like the one who like fucked up at the end. It's a funny clip though. I like that. He just throws it in there too.
Chris can't do jack shit. So.
Yeah, Chris sucks at his job. It's okay. Chris.
Wait, he has an Emmy though.
True. He has an Emmy and a lot more super chats than me. So what do I have to even talk about right now? Either way, guys, I think that's gonna wrap it for tonight's show. Guys, I want to thank y'all for supporting the program. Very generous tonight, especially Creepshow, who tweeted out our stream and generous in donos. Everyone who showed up, who tossed a donation, who just sat around, just watched, just hit like or whatever. I appreciate it, especially because I came like just a little bit close to canceling the show just because I was too busy today. But I really wanted to talk about this stuff, and I'm glad we kind of got through it because I think it was the right decision to make, even if we were a little late. But that's going to do it for episode 201. If you enjoyed the show, you can subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Turn on the notifications, hit the like button, and you can catch me tomorrow. I'll toss a video up, hopefully at around noon or early in the afternoon, and then we'll probably do some streaming, talking about bullshit, maybe playing some video games or whatever. You know the usual. Video games. Bowblax, you got anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
Yes, I have my video on some of the tweets that Destiny made after our debate, as well as covering a bit of the debate itself, going up on my channel either later tonight or tomorrow, probably later tonight. And then obviously I'm going to work on some other videos. I think I'm going to do a Twitter versus Jeffree Star as well. So you can look out for
anything
that.
on the live streaming front?
No, basically when I just have time, I will stream on Twitch,
Alright.
but most of my free time goes to making videos. But yeah, I mean, whenever I have free time, I stream on Twitch, so you can follow me on twitch.tv/Bowblax as well.
There you go, twitch.tv/Bowblax, youtube.com/poundingbowblax, or Bowblax2 for his main channel.
Yeah, Bowblax 2 is a bit easier to type and say.
Man, but when I say Bowblax 2, it confuses people. They make them think, oh, the other one, why are you promoting that one? No, Bowblax 2 is the main one.
Yeah, there because my main channel for years was my second channel. I swapped it because, yeah, long story.
The Tism points, there you go. Alright, talk to you later, man.
See ya.
And it just me now. Alright, boys, I'm gonna get out of here. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. We might take some colors tomorrow, too. Why not? Why not?